Hey everyone, Aqua Boy Rocks here. It's Thunderegg Thursday again, and this Thursday I'm going to do a little bit of what you've seen me do before. I mean, how original can I get with shop videos on Thundereggs? But we're going to take a look at some distressed Thundereggs, parts and pieces that don't look like much, and see what I can make out of them. This one you've seen before. This is one of those Berindo Red Hots that came polished with clear epoxy, which I think is nigh on an abomination. But so all I'm going to be doing with it is trying to sand that off and actually polish the rock. These, who knows what I'll end up doing with them. But you go find rocks. This was the first Thunderegg bed I ever visited, at the one above the campground at Sucker Creek. I wasn't finding much, so I was just enthusiastic about, oh, that is part of a Thunderegg. Let me carry that back to the car and ship it home and have it in my collection. Or you buy a lot of Thundereggs off of eBay and it comes with some broken ones like these, or you dig them and you find them like that. So most eggs, according to some claim owners that I've read their posts, most eggs are actually broken. When I was out there, my one trip out digging them, I would say, yeah, probably more broken eggs than whole eggs. So most everyone wants the whole eggs, but we're going to see what can be made out of a broken one. Okay, so this broken half Thunderegg, we're going to try and clean up the face on the drop saw. I've got it clamped in there and I'll give it a spin. And this piece of a Sucker Creek Thunderegg, I'm going to be trying to clean up on the crown saw. I'm going to do several different cuts to try and clean faces up enough to polish something and make it look halfway decent. This waterline agate is going to get a face cut on the drop saw. And I'm all set up for cut number 2 on the Sucker Creek egg and the crown saw. Last cut on the Sucker Creek egg coming up. Alright, these are the ugly Thundereggs I decided to try and clean up and do something with. And once I got started on this, I realized this is really more of a geode. It's got some still kind of interesting botryoidal in there, but it was not liking trying to be sanded. Pieces were breaking off, and so that one kind of a bust. Maybe throw it in the rock garden. Then we're left with these. We added one. This one was one of those red hots that someone had put some epoxy or some kind of 2-part compound on it to try and make it shine, and I said I was going to sand all that off, and I did, and that became a really pretty piece. There's some definite imperfections in my polishing job, but Still really pretty nice. Then this one wasn't in the original batch that I said I was going to work on, but it was in the same situation with the epoxy on it. I found it after I quit filming the opening clip and decided to do the same thing to it. Now this one I believe is probably a Sucker Creek area egg that was all broken up. It continued to fall apart as I tried to sand it. This whole corner here, little piece by little red hot piece came flaking off as I tried to sand it. I did get a kind of a nice polished face on the rest of this. So not a big success, but interesting to mess with. Another not a big success is this one from Sucker Creek. I picked it up because, well, for one thing, it was my first Thunderegg spot I visited, so I didn't really know that I would get better material at some of the other ones. But anyway, got a little agate in there. I really enjoy this matrix. There's nothing flashy about it, but there's a lot going on with all of these little different inclusions in there. I flip it up. Got a little bit of cerium oxide in there, but there's some interesting colors. You can see the colors on the back of this. Some interesting colors going on. And even got a little tiny bit of waterline agate right here in this pocket. So overall, I still find it an interesting piece, even though it doesn't look like much. So definitely these are the two prettiest ones. The biggest improvement out of that lot is getting rid of that epoxy and having an actual polished stone rather than a rough cut stone with some epoxy to make it look shiny. Well, there wasn't anything flashy about that bunch of rocks, but hopefully it kind of got you an idea that you can make something out of rocks that might not seem like they're worth anything, but they're still fun to mess with, and you can get something that's interesting to look at. All right, see you next Thunderegg Thursday.